All right, guys, it is time to close the book on the Chevy Spark. Did we make a profit or did we lose money? We cover that as well as what happened in the accident to cause what damage was on the car in this video. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe. I run a rental car business here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today I have basically the last chapter of the Chevrolet Spark and what happened to the car, as well as the final figures now that we know how much we're going to be paid out for the car and if we made a profit or if we lost money on the car. Now, before I get into that, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory of how this car came about before it even ended up on the fleet. I actually had gotten this car because it was going to be my commuter car. I was going to drive back and forth from the house to the airport to go take care of vehicles. I originally wasn't even going to be posting it on Turo, and then I was like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna post it as a listing and see what happens. So I listed the car, and we had one rental that ended up being like a 2-week rental, and at the time it was a pretty high rate. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I just add this one into the fleet and just find a different way to commute. And so I had a different car that I was able to go back and forth with, and we were able to put the Spark on the platform. Now, we did originally finance this car, and there was only a grand total of 1 month in the entire year and a half that the car was listed, roughly a year and a half, that the car never met its actual car note. It always either met or exceeded. 99% of the time it exceeded its car note. And so we did really well with this car. So I have some of the numbers, and before I get into that, I did want to mention about the car accident itself. So I was able to pull the police report finally, and we found out that basically they didn't give the full details of what happened in the accident, but what they did say was that the guest that was driving the Spark was attempting to overtake a moving vehicle. My assumption is in the left lane, because car number 1 was designated as moving and the Spark was designated as moving. So my assumption was they were attempting to overtake the vehicle in the left lane, and they collided, and then the Spark in turn hit a stopped car. So the 3 cars that were involved was a GMC Sierra, the Spark, and a Ford F-350 Super Duty. Probably 2 of the biggest behemoth cars you could ever have involved in an accident with the Spark, but hey, it is what it is. But basically the Spark hit the Sierra first from what I can see, and then it hit the Ford F-350. Now, it does mention that the guest that was driving our car was cited for careless driving. So obviously there was some poor judgment that was made that resulted in this accident, which is very unfortunate. But that's part of being in this business, is you have to just be able to roll with the punches and kind of deal with it. Nothing that I can do there. I have attempted to contact the driver, and I've pretty much been ghosted at this point, which is also unfortunate, because you totaled my car, you got cited for careless driving, and yet you don't want to communicate with me when I tell you that the car is basically a total loss at this point. But neither here nor there, we're gonna go ahead and continue to push forward as a business. And so that being said, I do have the numbers of what we paid for this car, and we included everything from the original cost of the vehicle to insurance to oil changes, any sort of maintenance if there was anything that was done, and what our overall total was. Our original purchase price on the car, which when I tell you this number, you're gonna say that's pretty high. You have to remember this was purchased in June of 2022, which is basically at the height of all the cars just being aggressively inflated. So at the time we purchased this car, it was the only Spark that was on the lot at this dealer, and we paid $23,024.61 for this car. Pretty expensive for a Chevy Spark LT, but nonetheless, we got a really good deal on it as far as the interest rate and things like that, so it well offset. Our insurance cost overall from the time that we got it to the time that we took it off the insurance was $1,216. In total now, you're at $24,241 if we want to round up. And then we had about $300 worth of oil changes. I did my own oil changes. So we had $300 worth of those. So that takes you to $24,541 in terms of overall cost. We never had this car in for any repairs. There was never anything that had been wrong with the car. It drove perfectly fine. We never went to any shop for tires or anything like that. So basically all that you see here is what the cost was. So if we look at the overall earnings over the course of the 3 years, in 2022, it was only listed for part of the year, and we did not really aggressively list this vehicle as far as competitive pricing. We kind of had it at a higher price point. It earned $2,557 in 2022. In 2023, that was the first full year that it was listed and available, and we were a lot more aggressive with our approach as far as having it listed on the platform. It earned $8,784 that year. And then this year, before it was crashed, it did earn a little bit of money as well. It earned $429 for the month of January. Now, for the actual payout for total loss and how much we got, we received $16,740 for this car, which is pretty significant as far as how many miles were on it and all that. It had about 34,000 miles at the time of the crash, so that's what it was taking into account, as well as obviously the trim level features. This was a 1LT, so it wasn't like the lowest end model. A lot of the LSs still have crank windows, which this one had power windows. This one had still some pretty good tech features, CarPlay, Android Auto. It had Wi-Fi capability as well. So there was quite a bit available for this car. Remote unlock. We had this car as a Turo Go. It was our only Turo Go car that we had at the time. So anyways, if you take all of that into account, you take the total cost of everything, and then you take the profit as well as the payout for the total loss, you come up with an overall profit of $3,970 on this car. So that's pretty significant. We overall ended up making money on this car. Obviously, as a business, you have 11 other vehicles that are helping to offset some of this. So while it would be nice to earn that profit, the business overall is still new. So there's a lot to be said as far as where those funds are going. But as far as the Spark overall, it did really well as far as from the purchase price all the way until when we got paid out for the total loss. Now, as far as what's next, am I looking at another Spark? I am looking at other Sparks and just kind of taking my time to decide when is going to be the right time for us to pull the trigger on that. And I'm not really in a rush at this point. I did save the WeatherTech floor mats that are in the garage, so we have those ready if we ever decide to go get another Spark. But again, not really in a big hurry at this point. And there's always stuff going on, honestly. Like we just got a message from a renter a couple days ago. They had the Dodge Journey and took it through the car wash, and they said that water just poured into the car from the sunroof. So we had to bring the car home. We had to check and see where the areas of the car were wet. We had to clean the water spots off of the headliner. We had to dry up the carpet on the floor, as well as pulling up the carpet, as I mentioned in some of my YouTube shorts. If you ever spill big amounts of liquid in your car, don't be satisfied by just trying to dry up the carpet, because chances are it's through the padding and onto the floor pan, and you really need to pull that carpet up and dry it all up if you want the mold smell to not be there. So that was part of what we had to do with the Journey a couple of days ago. We just had to do all 4 brakes on the minivan, which was a little bit of a challenging project, but we got it done. A lot of, very helpful resources that I have as far as people with, mechanical inclination. But it's a simple brake job. It was just the back brakes had a special caliper that you had to twist, and I had never dealt with one of those before, so found somebody that has experience with doing it, and they were luckily able to help me out. So shout out to the neighbor, you know who you are, who helped me out with that. And it will continue. We're going to continue to have, maintenance things that we have to deal with. We're going to have oil changes that we're always doing. We're going to have tire rotations. We're going to have lots of stuff that we have to do. And the bigger the fleet, the more work you have. So just be prepared when you have a fleet of this size to do that kind of work. And on top of that, dealing with cars that have been in accidents and figuring out what's next. The Camry will be going in for repairs in about 10 days as of this video. Today's the 9th when I'm recording this, so it will be going in on the 19th. and it's gonna have its repair done on the quarter panel. We've blocked that car out for about 3 weeks. So hopefully that should be more than enough time for the body shop to take care of what they need to. And that is gonna do it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this content, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you like following through our business and just learning more about Turo and learning more about us and all that fun stuff. And if you have anything you want me to discuss, leave a comment down below. I would love to chat about anything that you think would be of helpful discussion. And if you have a car that you want to share with us, I'll leave my email down below. You can go ahead and send me an email and let me know what car you have. I've had people that ask me, how does this work? And basically what we would do is if you have a car note or if you don't have a car note, depending on what you have, our goal is to be able to allow you to make money while we make money as well. And basically we would list your vehicle on the Turo app for rent and we would manage the car for you. You would not have to do anything. All you would be basically doing is collecting a check as the car goes out. Now there's no time commitment or anything like that. This is on a written contract, so you would not be basically on a gentleman's agreement. We actually would have something written down and you would have the ability to pull out of this contract whenever you are ready to do it, as long as we have ample time to honor the trips that are needed for the upcoming month. And then after that, you would be able to take your car back. But as I said before, I want to make sure that whatever car you want to list, whatever car you have that you want to give me is a car that can make potential money for you, because I don't want you bringing me a car that I don't think is going to do well and for me to just go, yes, I will take your car, I will manage it for you, and then you're only earning a couple $100 and that's all you're getting. I definitely want this to be worth your skin in the game as far as, you know, taking that risk. And lastly, if you're looking for a car to rent in Jacksonville, visit AchooRentals.com. We got everything from compact cars to that beautiful minivan, now with fresh brakes, ready to seat your 7 passengers nice and comfortably and fit all the cargo that you need. Thank you all again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.